Last show of 2024. MMA Homie 2024 awards for the best UFC knockout, fight card, nastiest injury, fighter of the year, biggest upset of 2024, and worst robbery of 2024. I'm DJ MTK, West Coast Radio, MMA Homie Podcast. I got with me the homie Vaughn over in AZ. What's up, Playboy?
What's up, fellas?
We also got Red Wolf all the way in the UK. What's up, mate?
What's up, Bang? You good, yeah?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. So listen, we'll just kick it right off the bat here, and we'll start with the best KO of 2024. On the list, we had Ilya versus Max, Alex Pieta versus Yuri, Max Holloway versus Justin Gaethje at UFC 300, John Jones versus Stipe at in New York, and then I think we were going to add the Shara double fist knockout as well, right, Vaughn?
Yeah, I love that one, especially as a mention for one of the candidates.
Honorable mention, definitely honorable mention. And I think that, I'll kind of let Red Wolf start.
That's a pleasure. Thank you, man. So for me, I still get chills when I watch the Max Holloway Gaethje knockout, man. Like the whole sequence, the whole fight itself was great.
Mm-hmm.
That whole 10 seconds, point to the ground, trademark, swang and bang. I remember watching that live and I was just laughing and smiling like, oh, no way. He's doing the point to the ground. And then all of a sudden, bang, the last second, to even hear Mark Goddard let go, oh my God, do you know what I mean? So when the referee goes, oh wow, that's when you know it's a big one. I watch that nearly every week. It was just one of the best knockouts I've seen. A lot of people debate that, but for me, those two legends left it all in there. And that 1 second left in the round, the very final round, it was just perfect, man.
Vaughn, where are you at?
I had several candidates, one of them being Holloway Gaethje, the Shara Magomedov double elbow was pretty awesome. But I'd have to agree with what Red Wolf. The Max point became a thing for 2024. It became iconic in the UFC, especially for fighters to want to express the desire to stand and bang in the center of the ring. Max Holloway brought that to fruition. And I think he should be honored for KO of the year for it.
Yeah. Finish up. I think that, we looked at the Ilya fight versus Max Holloway. It's interesting. We got Max Holloway in two of these fights, right? The shot was so clean. It was almost picture perfect the way he knocked him out. It was just so technical and so picture plain, just a clean like left hook when he stepped into it. And when I look at the Alex versus Yuri fight, that was the head kick. And that was just epic, just in its own right when it's a championship fight. And all these fights we're talking about are championship. Actually, the Max Holloway isn't a championship fight, but it was on UFC 300.
Well, it was a BMF fight, though.
That wasn't okay. That's true. That is true. So that you know what, and that lives up to the hype within itself.
That's to me why it's iconic, and it's definitive of what KO of the. I mean, there's a lot. I think there are a lot of more impressive KOs that happen, but there's no one talking about those KOs, and there's certainly no one doing mimicking the. Everyone is mimicking the point, and to me that is indicative. Like you want to show who the best is. Let's throw down right now, right here. And Holloway's got to be credited for that beautiful KO, because if you're looking about clean KOs, Gaethje stepped into a right hook that I haven't seen the KO in a minute, but he stepped into what I believe is a right hook and just got knocked clean the fuck out. They made memes about that shit.
Yeah, and that shit was rolling for like a buzzer beater, right, from Jordan or Kobe. It's
Yes.
or like in
Bingo.
football, or like
A game winner,
a
too.
game winner. It's like a game winner, and I think that everybody thought it was going back and forth. It was already living up to the hype
To the
Yeah.
BMF
on
hype.
UFC 300, and I think if we were to add all these elements together, okay, let's just bring up John Jones real quick. And I know what you had said, Vaughn. Like, should that even be in the conversation? And I think it wasn't a one-hit quitter. He kind of got back up on him, where a lot of these were already like one hit. Well, there were one-hit quitters almost. So I think
the opponent of whom John Jones got that KO on, we have to consider the fact he's some 42-year-old man who's got some, firefighter job. I'm sure he's focusing 95% of his time on that and on his family, and this is his last fight on his contract. The one thing that he said and did right afterwards is, thank God, I'm retired from this sport, in a sense. So he had like one foot out the door already. That's why it's not that impressive, because it's 100% expected of John Jones to go out there and put Stipe away.
Yeah.
I would like to see that against Tom Aspinall.
All right, that's a whole nother category, a whole nother conversation. So I think we're all in agreement, and even the homies in the chat, they all had it when they all voted on Twitter. The best UFC knockout was Max versus Gaethje, and that was at 81%.
Yeah,
Wow.
I give it 100%. That was
I'm sorry. So it went Max, Gaethje 61%, Ilya, Max took second, Alex versus Yuri took third, John Jones versus Stipe took the last place. So
kudos to Max.
And I'm interested too. Maybe we could circle back around with this UFC and ESPN website. What was their? I think everybody had the Max. I think that's universal.
Yeah.
I think it is, and I think if we were to really the reasons why is because it's iconic. I think having it on UFC 300 with such a huge card made it so much bigger as well, and the fact that more eyes were on the product, and the fact that it was a BMF belt that lived up to the hype as well. So you had the iconic buzzer beater. It was just so many boxes that you check to make it knockout of the year. So I think we're all universal on that.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. I want to throw an honourable mention in there as well. Apart from the Shara second double back fist, Shi Ming's head kick. If you remember on UFC Macau, when she put
you remember that one. You were wide awake for that card.
Muslim, right?
No, Shi Ming.
Oh,
Shi Ming,
okay.
the doctor. The girl, the
Oh,
yeah.
Put her they had to put her out on a stretcher.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Since we're doing honorable mentions, I got to give Tatsura an honorable mention when he did that body triangle leg trip and knocked him down and knocked him out. That was a KO. That was pretty sick.
Yeah. I like that. That's a good one.
And then the Dustin Poirier knocked out for Benoit Saint Denis. He caught him clean.
Yeah, he caught him clean. And then Vinicius Oliveira's flying knee on Sopaj.
I went back and rewatched that one. I went back and rewatched that one. That was a good one.
There's been so many. This was a hard one to choose with. With Max was obviously going to win, but I was going through them before. I was going through the best KOs, and I was like, "There's so many. There's so many good ones this year. It's been a great year for KOs."
Yeah. All right. So moving on to, let me see here, best UFC 2024 awards with all the MMA homies. Shout out to all the MMA homies as well. We have best fight card in 2024. So we have on our list, best fight card, we have UFC 300, UFC Noche, UFC 308, UFC 309 as our four nominees. And I'll let Vaughn start this one off because I know he kind of had a different opinion than me.
Yeah, for me, UFC 308 took the cake for best fight card of 2024. I felt like it had the most.
Ilya versus Max?
That's Ilya versus Max. Ilya versus Max.
Was that in Vegas or where was that one at?
That one was, what was that?
Saudi?
Oh, what's
That
it?
Was it Abu Dhabi?
I could probably ask him.
yes, Abu
Was it?
Dhabi.
Oh, really? Okay.
That's where
Okay.
it was. So for me, that had the most bang for the buck. It had Ilya with a candidate for knockout of the year.
Yeah.
It had, to me, what's a candidate for submission of the year, where Chimaev broke Whitaker's jaw. I mean, that still reels in my brain. You had Shara with a double discount elbow knockout in there, which was another honorable mention for KO of the year. And then you had a great undercard, I thought, in that. And within that undercard, you had Mateusz Rebecki versus Bektek Orobai, which is another candidate for fight of the year and also injury of the year as well. And then you had and Kennedy and Chechedeku, I can't say his last name, versus Chris Barnett. We all wanted to see Chris Barnett back. Maybe a little disappointing of a fight, but I just felt overall that card delivered, and it had candidates that we're talking about now in several other categories. So to me, UFC 308 is the one that delivered the most.
Well, who do you got, Red Wolf?
I like that. I like that. That's coming in from the side. That one 308 was amazing. And this one for me is probably going to sound pretty obvious, but 300 to me felt like every fight on that card could have been a main event, like from start to finish. Like you had Figueiredo versus Garbrandt, you had Bobby Green versus Jim Miller, you had who else was it? There was Charles versus Sarukian. Like every fight on there was impeccable.
Top to finish.
Jamal Hill.
Top to finish.
Yeah, that's the Justin Hill Max Holloway fight was on that card.
Yeah, exactly. There was.
And wasn't the co-main a title fight too?
It was Zhang versus
Yao Nang.
Yeah, that's the one. Steve, even though that was a great fight, and that was the other thing, that was the Coleman was a great fight, but it was overshadowed by the BMF fight and the Pereira versus Hill fight. And Pereira versus Hill was a great card. It was amazing. I mean, you had the Pereira doing the whole King Baldwin.
That was a great card.
Got this, you know what I mean? And Hill's still talking about that.
Is that when he did that during that fight? That was the
one. That was the one.
That adds a layer for me. That adds a layer for me. And let's just look at this. Like for me, I had UFC Noche because it was that was so amazing with the visuals.
Yeah.
And if we were to, and it's interesting, if we were to take the UFC 308 versus 300, and let's just say we took the first prelim fight versus this first prelim fight. If we were to do that, like, you know what I mean? I think UFC 300 would have more check boxes.
Yeah.
And then I started thinking, so I looked at UFC Noche. I was like, man, wow, this is so amazing. I'm Mexican. I was like, oh, you're speaking my language. When Vegas, like, I would love to be there. I've never seen anything like it. And if I put that card versus UFC 300, UFC 300 is going to take more check boxes as well. Now, I did think there was a lot of bangers from Ronaldo. I think it was Ronaldo Rodriguez.
Yes.
Yeah, he was the scrappy the guy. He came out all fucking yelling during the press conference and shit. And
right? He had the full hat on, and he was just he stole the show.
I think that a lot of people took notice with the Zelhi Baribovic fight. That was a fucking banger. Now, I think Raul Rosas, Chihuihuis, he started off the card, I believe. So we had a lot of young talent that were Mexican fighters, and the Alexo Grasso Valentina fight was pretty epic as well. But it didn't, if I were just take the graphics overall, I would be like, oh, that's the fucking best. I've never seen anything like that in my life, you know?
Oh, production-wise, takes the cake.
But I think they had a lot of uprising stars that were Mexican that I still love I love the whole. It's so crazy, and me and Ray say this all the time. I'm spoiled as a UFC fan because the UFC always, as an organization of promotion, always gives us a really great product.
Yeah.
And
I
we're
mean, I
not.
think
That's what they're supposed to do, though.
Right.
That's
But
what
we're
people
not-
are paying so much money on
Yeah,
pay-per-view.
but think about we're
events, fight
diehards.
pass.
Not everybody watches the prelims like us. Not everybody knows these guys that are like, on the rise. It takes a we're diehard fucking, MMA homies here. So but even in the chat, we have with the homie chat, UFC 300 took the voting at 70 looks like 72%, 76%.
yeah.
I'm not gonna hate on that at all.
No, and I think if we were to go to UFC, I think the UFC and ESPN, they all said UFC 300, and we can go back and fact check us. So that was okay. So we got UFC best KO in 2024. We all picked the Max KO versus Gaethje. Best fight card. I think we're all gonna. I know Vaughn kind of went sideways and went 308, but I understand why. I think it's a close second. But I think overall we're all gonna say UFC 300 took this one. And I don't know, Ray, you still there? No. All right. All right. So next category, best UFC 2024 MMA Homie Awards with Red Wolf and Vaughn. We have the nastiest injury in 2024.
There's been some good ones. There's been some good ones.
I like what you guys dropped. The Drew Lober fight versus Gene Silva. Forgot about that one. He had a nasty cut.
I mean, you want to talk about Colby Covington's eyelid falling off? Come on now. Drew Dober's eyelid, I think, was literally off.
Kobe may win the Best Bitch Award of 2020.
Oh, yeah. He's him and
we got to create that right now.
Yeah.
There's a few other candidates, though.
I was just gonna say there's a couple other ones. I just want to say the name right now.
This is the OnlyFans content.
There was some bad. I mean, I don't know if you remember. I don't know if RoboCop's injury wasn't this year, was it? When he had his
that was last year, I believe. Yeah, that was last year. But we have the obvious, right? Irene Aldana.
Yep, I'll name these. Irene Aldana cut. I think that was that UFC Noche?
Yeah, it was. It actually was.
That card a little bit more iconic too. Then we had the Drew Lober that we just added. Kobe. The
Leo Roundtree.
Oh, the Roundtree cut was pretty fun. The BSD cut too.
Yeah.
Well, his was multiple. His was like
Roundtree had multiple too.
Yeah, but he had that one nasty nose, and his eye was all shut too. Oralby's eye.
Yeah,
that was an orbital fracture.
Bro, when I was watching that Orabai one, I was like, he couldn't even see. It was so
bro, he could barely see with his eyes open,
and he was still fighting.
Yeah. Do you know what was funny about that? It isn't funny, but when he fought, who was it he fought? I think he fought Rebecca. He made his eyes like that, and then he fought, and then his eyes were exactly the way he made somebody else look. It was like instant karma. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh man, it was sick. But as far as out of all of those, the one that still haunts me at night is Irene Aldana's.
I mean, if you're gonna call it,
I saw skull.
Yeah,
I literally saw skull. I saw head, forehead skin flapping and moving, like it's not connected to the forehead.
The gash was right here, right?
Yeah, and it was 3 inches long. I mean, it was. Oh my god!
I've seen machete wounds less deep than that. Do you know what I mean? That was
real. That was brutal. That was brutal. That takes a cake.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that cut for the rest of my life.
I've got a funny story about that. So I had a video on X of the surgeon kind of
that's what I was. That's what I still see.
Yeah, do you know X kicked that off for excessive gore?
Wow, there you go. I mean,
if
you got flagged for excessive gore.
Yeah.
I tried saying it was a medical, she's still alive, it was a medical professional fighter. They were like, no, that's too much. Get it off. I was like,
that takes the cake. When Twitter bans it,
I think
you know it's the winner.
And I think that if we were to take these people, God, what warriors?
Yeah, 100%.
What fucking warriors, bro. My ass gets a paper cut, homie. I'm like,
How about a bruise, a black eye?
I'm done, dog. I get a little cut. You know what I mean? I get a little cut. I'm fucking like, little back injury. I'm done.
And the fact that, it was Aldana, and she kept fighting with it. That wasn't even close to being called out.
Bro, the doctor in that, I mean, there was screaming going on in my house from people yelling at the TV for the doctor to stop that fight. I mean, it's literally, my wife was upset and screaming at the TV for the doctor or the ref or someone to stop that fight.
Oh,
and
all of these guys. I mean, the Orobai, Drew Lober, BSD. Kobe's kicked out of this. You know what? Kobe Kenny shouldn't even be mentioned now.
Yeah. Kobe had, like you said, a paper cut.
A paper cut over his eye.
Yeah.
And the lady's like, oh, too much blood.
You know what I think it is, too? If he wasn't such a shit talker, I think people would have a little bit more sympathy for him. But I was like, you robbed Joaquin Buckley of a finish. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Buckley still got the finish. Buckley, that's still technically a finish.
But I wanted him to fucking just get on his ass. You feel me? And I'm getting excited. I'm getting a little excited. I wanted him to finish the job so bad. But even I just looked at it right now. It was the Roundtree. Roundtree stood in there. They stood in the pocket. Fuck yeah. They stood in the pocket like a UFC fighter should. And you know what? I didn't see. Okay, Kobe did it, but he wasn't like crying about the stoppage. Just to say that the doctor did, but we needed the doctor from the Roundtree fight, from the Lober fight, from the fucking Irene Aldana fight to go to Tampa and do a solid for us. I would have created a GoFundMe for that doctor to be the doctor that night. All right.
I mean, it's not often Dana says something right, but even he said that fight wouldn't have been stopped in Vegas, and he was so right. You know what I mean?
So you know what? We're gonna do a part 2. I think we got best KO, best fight card, nastiest injury, Max Holloway, UFC 300 in Las Vegas, UFC Noche at the Sphere. Shout out to Irene Aldana, man, you know what? It's crazy. When I saw the recovery pictures, I was like, man, she's still smiling. Her smile was energetic and cute, bro. Like, she actually looked cute in her recovery photos. I was like, damn.
Yeah, she recovered well. It didn't look like bad at all.
No, man.
Now that surgeon earned his money. That's a miracle worker right there. You know what I mean? Like,
what these fighters it makes you really think what these fighters put themselves through as the ultimate warriors. I mean, that is amazing to see and for us to be talking about it. So, man, salute to every single fucking one of them.
Amen.
100%. So